Warms my heart seeing so many lovely, wonderful people retweeting the message. Thank you guys for getting on Twitter and being all activisty. We brought it up on Remax. I think it was a week ago. We talked about what things can StarCraft 2 do to improve itself. And like I said, get active in the community, guys. Whether it's retweets, whether it's posting on Reddit, on Team Liquid, whatever you gotta do. Thank you guys for joining us this morning. It's a best of 5 ahead of us for the EIZO Holiday Brawl. I'm Rifkin, casting this morning, of course, as always, with Zombie Grub. And without further ado, spawning in the top right corner of Overgrowth, it's gonna be the blue Protoss from Millennium. Give it up for Lilbow.
Bottom left as the red Zerg, it's Axiom's Impact.
Okay, so some explanations are due for those who don't know. Europe and Korea, how are they playing together? As is tradition with the BattleNets, we go to the North American server. It's kind of the middle grounds for both sides. Sometimes you luck out and get no latency, and sometimes you feel the burn just a smidge. I don't know how these guys are going to be handling today, but I do know that they're both really good players. Lilbow consistently makes it to the round of 8s for things we run, semifinals and finals in other instances. He did go toe-to-toe with Solar. Now, this is Solar who ended up winning the entire tournament. He took Solar to game 5 in a round of 8, best of 5 scenario as well. So, is it impossible for Lilbow to beat Impact? Not at all. But at the same time, Impact is this guy we always talk about. He's like this sniper Zerg. He always watches VODs, studies his opponent, and usually comes with some sort of build or two up his sleeve that will 100% counter who he's playing.
I expect the same thing to happen this game. I really do. Lilbow has won me over for Protoss all-ins. They just don't seem like they'll work, and then they do.
Yeah, especially if we go to King Sejong Station.
Yeah, especially that map. Like, seriously. He just, I don't know, it's persistence where Zerg thinks that they're not going to persist or whatever it is, but it's magic and it works.
It's kind of
Impact
cool. Yeah, just preemptively reacting to what is possibly cannons, but perhaps didn't do that much homework on his opponent, because I don't know Lilbow to be that much of a cannon rusher.
Well...
We saw it yesterday, I think, once, right?
Yeah, on Overgrowth in a very spectacular fashion.
I guess, yeah, with the double pylons in the ramp, so... Not at all a bad idea to be safe. I mean, he lost 30 seconds of mining time, hardly the end of the world, and he guarantees that nothing bad goes wrong.
I think that he has studied his opponent because he goes for 3 hatch before pool. Did he actually drone scout? He didn't drone scout. So, usually you would before you did that, just in case. And it's just going to be a little paranoid about, like, that forage timing, which in the yesterday's games was actually after a gateway, before SemiFinals, I think.
Yeah, he went gateway first into the forge.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wondering about this now. We've ruled out the cannon rush potential that Lilbow has in him. And now we move forward in the game where Impact's going to have to worry about this third base, and drastically so. It is Overgrowth. This is like the map, the base, the location that you really, if you're going to all in, that's where you hit hard. Yeah.
And I would not be very surprised at all for Lilbow to do it on this map. But Impact's got to know that. Impact, has already gotten a little bit of a boost from this build. Lilbow didn't go for the least economical build that he could have. It was a Nexus after Gateway, not after 7X Core. But it's still like, they get away with 3 hatch pool, and you couldn't cannon rush them, and it's always like, nah. Yeah. Oh well.
Well, to start our morning off, guys, we have a $5 donation coming in from Kitty the Neko. It says, good morning, Rifkin and chat. Happy betting and ace skates. P.S. I sent you PM. All right, I'll check it out after the cast today, man. And thank you for your wonderful words. And yes, everyone, have a good morning, and make sure you get lots of good luck placing your bets today, because we got some really cool giveaways coming up in the near future, and that's what you use those partoofs for. But anyways, we do have that standard Protoss poke. The predictable Protoss poke, the PPP, if you will, coming across the map. Zealot stock and the Mothership Core can certainly kill a queen if Impact is unprepared for it. And there is a fresh queen ripe for the picking, just spawned.
Yeah. He doesn't have any lings out. The 2 lings went right to the main. They might be able to get it in. Oh, yeah.
What? That was weird. Yeah, he hopped on top of the probe and, skipped right on by. Meanwhile, Zealot on top of the queen with the stalker is going to absolutely net 1 kill. A couple drones might go down here as well, but, I mean, the lings are spawning. The second queen's here. This shouldn't get too out of hand.
Yeah. The Militia Core was just a little bit late to the party. The Zealot probably would have died, but maybe they would have gotten the second queen, too.
Well, we missed a couple of lings of the main. I just got to assume they'd get swept under the rug, but they actually almost killed a sentry.
But they're just going to get scouting done, which, I mean, they also did that.
Yeah. Actually, let's take a look at just what Impact saw. So pretty much everything necessary to what Lilbow was built. Sees 3 gateways for the time being, a little bit worrisome. I don't know if he saw a Chrono Boost on a Cyber Core, because of course we weren't looking at the time either, but 3 gateways already is kind of alarming, to the point where you're not going to drone heavily. Maybe you'll question mark how heavy you drone, but I kind of predict he'll probably stop around 50-ish. That seems to be the safe spot for a lot of Zerg players. Go for the roaches, go for the lings, whatever your heart desires. But actually, hold on, a faster layer.
A little bit. Speed is nowhere near done, so it's going to be kind of hard to keep tabs on Lilbow's army without, well, losing your lings, we see here. But he would love to, and see, like, what the army positioning is like, because, obviously he wants to get a second scout, see that there aren't 7 gateways, like, right now, for instance, or just see that the 3rd is being put down. The Overlord just barely does not see that. It's a little to the left. No, you're going the wrong way. Alright. I think with the location of the army, it's a good guess, but it could always be a fake,
Yeah. This is a scenario where I kind of wish Impact had like 10 more lings. If you could provide enough pressure and dance around the side of the map, Lilbow definitely wouldn't feel comfortable about abandoning his 3rd for a big push. And then Impact would have a little bit more, I think, peace of mind to keep droning. Like, he's still droning him. This is a good move. He's confident. But it is getting a little bit worrisome where perhaps he drones 2 drones too hard, and here's those force fields.
Yeah. It's still a possibility. As you can see, Lilbow, thanks to the militia recall, you can actually have these maybe oddly timed attacks. This is actually a pretty standard attack. Yeah. But, it won't be a risk. If you catch them without the roaches or as they're getting roaches, then that's great. And if you do and they have roaches, then you just recall out, hopefully.
Well, my concerns are whether this is going to be that fake 3rd or not, but he did keep producing probes for quite some time behind this, so definitely looking to just, hit as hard as he can and get out with most of these sentries alive, if not all of them alive.
The best case scenario would be get this 3rd, and with as many force fields he has, he can absolutely get the 3rd and recall out, and that's actually really, really bad for Impact. I guess Impact was not expecting this very small push, but I mean, this does happen, fairly regularly. This, amount of sentries, this couple of stalkers, and then you just recall out.
Oh, Transfuse is going down. It actually saves it. Lilbow, oh man, I think he was trying to time that out perfectly to be precise. Yeah. Last shot recall, but Impact with 2 clutch transfuses at the very end. That really screwed with Lilbow's timing. And for Lilbow's sake, that becomes a lot of wasted force. That becomes a lot of wasted energy. Because look what was killed in that attack. Like 4 drones. Yeah. I think he got 1 more queen. Now he's gonna have to defend against roaches with a very low energy sentry count.
Exactly.
He's got a lot of sentries. Don't get me wrong, but not a lot of energy is the problem.
Yeah, he still certainly has enough force fields, and can warp in more to block off of this ramp. So he's good to go. But that's the decision he had to make. Like, yeah, he probably could have killed that 3rd had he dealt, put 6 more force fields down. But then that would be like almost no force fields left over, and that's a bad situation. Impact probably knows this. Breaking down 2 locations is gonna make it obviously a lot harder. Force field off everything.
Yeah, it also just opens up another avenue of escape or attack depending on his positioning. I mean, Impact really doesn't have the biggest army right now. We consider it's mostly lings and roaches. The supply itself is a little inflated, because both of these get shut down by force fields pretty nicely, but at the same time, Lilbow doesn't exactly have the hardest hitting army. There's not a ton of stalkers here. There's no Colossus or Immortals. It's mostly sentries, and it has, well, I guess the stalker can start to build up now.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, Blink and +2, we're getting ready to, finish up here. You got up to about 8 gateways, which is okay for 3 bases, and well, that Robo might be a little late. Tunneling Claws is almost done, so if the Observer doesn't come with the army, ASAP, if you could use it.
I'm wondering if he will have that critical mass of stalkers to do this properly. I mean, Impact is keeping pretty well up on the roach count. His army supply isn't slacking, and he hasn't droned past what was 62 a while ago. So, I mean, taking this gold base, yeah, it might be shying a couple drones, but they're spread out so nicely that the mining looks wonderful.
Yep. Well, catches a few roaches. It does have to reveal Burrow, unfortunately. Better than losing the roaches. But
like you're gonna cancel the Immortals to get an Observer out, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I did. Like he has an
Observer. Okay.
I was about to say, like, who goes Immortal for? Okay. But still, it's like the fact that this is not necessarily just because you can escape, but also you can get on top of the sentries.
Yeah, the sentries might actually start going down here, which becomes really problematic because the stalkers haven't had begun blinking yet, and when they do blink back, they're still gonna be in range of a lot of these roaches. Lilbow in a bit of trouble. His +2 does finish up. A couple more sentries coming to this front lines, but Guardian Shields is going to be the biggest benefit to this. Looks like he will just have enough stalkers, though, to take out this roach army, but he trades out a lot of stalkers for it. But the Immortals, oh, thank God the Immortals finally come to the fight, saving the stalkers.
was that worth it for Impact? Impact actually has not gone up to a higher tech yet, like a Hydra's Den or a Swarm Host, and even then, you know, tech transitioning would be really dangerous. Like, Lilbow is going to counterattack right now, and with, you know, Blink Stalkers +2, technically, like, they can be much better units. Actually, Impact's gonna have +2 too.
I mean, I agree. Blink Stalker's gonna be really hard to deal with, but at the same time, without any sentries, it doesn't inhibit Impact. So, for the first time, like this game, he'll be able to fight with the full might of his army instead of segmenting it off or like moving in. Just stutter step a whole army into position, into range, take out the Immortal. I don't know, but he is gonna go for the fight here at the ramp. Takes a couple of angles to get in. The Immortal's on the front line, getting focused down by these roaches. First one is gonna fall, but that blink back keeps all the Stalkers alive.
Also, rather perfectly timed for Impact. +2 did just finish, but now we're waiting on +3 for Lilbow, but I don't know if he'll... Even, he still has all the blinks, he still has one Immortal left over.
The roach count is falling quickly, too. I mean, the supply count looks really high, but keep in mind, guys, roaches are getting inflated, and Lilbow, he's going to take game number 1 off of Impact. Have faith in the All-In, my son.